Hello everyone, welcome to Deacon's NFL Talk. I'm your host Deacon, and welcome back to another episode on the channel. Episode 40 on the channel. We've officially made it into the 40s this week. And as you can see, it is the last episode before Christmas, so I decided to get a little bit festive and wear something, that kind of gives it the Christmas vibe. But anyway, we have quite a few topics this week, and in case you are wondering, it might be a pretty long episode this week. I wouldn't expect it to be too long. We have a bunch of NFL news to get to. We have a few quick hits to get into. After that, we have highlights and lowlights. We actually have quite a bit of highlights and lowlights this week. After that, we're going to get into the playoff picture this week. I'm going to get into everything going on Thursday night after week 6, or currently in week 16. Then after that, I have the top 25 teams. It's a topic. It's my power rankings, but top 25 because Christmas is on the 25th. Then we have week 15 predictions, no stardom, situm, or week recap this week because of the playoff picture, and then we have one question of the week. I cannot wait to get into this episode of Deacon's NFL Talk. Alright, everybody, we're going to jump right into the first one, and this week we're going to start off with a Raiders topic. This week we found out that Raiders' Max Crosby is done for the year after an ankle injury, and he will undergo surgery. Really huge blow for the Raiders, and I say this for every I don't want to say bad, but I'm going to have to. A really bad team in the league. There hasn't really been too many bright spots for the Raiders this year. And what was supposed to be a pretty solid year for Antonio Pierce, who's coming into his full season as a head coach. Obviously, we know what happened last year where he came out of nowhere and won a lot of games for the Raiders. This year has not been the same. I mean, Crosby did not participate in practice all week, and this is an ankle that he's injured multiple times. So this isn't really something new for him. I don't know if it's talking about multiple times like of this year or out of his entire career. I would guess out of his entire career, but don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. But Max Crosby has really been top 10 candidate for defensive player of the year in my opinion. He's been really good. He's been a disruptor. I mean, sure, 7.5 sacks isn't really eye popping. But, he's one of those guys that really disrupts the game for the quarterback, and it just makes it really hard on the offensive line and the quarterback. So, when you lose a guy like Max Crosby, now at this point, I feel like if you're a bad team or like a team that's like trying to rebuild, I would say it's around this time where we start benching our starters and put our backups in and see what our backups or rookies that we drafted late round are made of. Let's see how high their ceiling is. Crosby is going to see a foot and ankle specialist on Monday, or I guess he went to see on Monday. So that's really all the information I have on that right now. I don't really have too many updates on the injury as of late. I mean, we can still talk about this, but like I haven't seen anything like bad pop up, which is a good sign. I mean, he finished the campaign with 45 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks, and 20 QB hits. And I feel like he still was one of the top guys for defensive player of the year. He was one of the top guys in the conversation, I believe. And anytime the Raiders, like, their roster is it's really not that great. I mean, they have a quarterback problem. I will pull it up because, I mean, really the only bright spots that they have on their roster that I can really think of is Max Crosby and Brock Bowers, the rookie tight end, who has a shot of Offensive Rookie of the Year. Aiden O'Connell isn't terrible, but he's not a starting quarterback. So, I mean, like, the Raiders at this point, I would say start putting in some rookies and seeing how well they can play. Because, like, if I'm a general manager of the Raiders right now or a head coach, whoever does the roster thingies, I might, at this point, I don't want to hurt any of our players going into next season if we somehow get a good roster after this season or after the off season. So I want to see what the rookies are made of and if like what position do we need going into next year? Like is our rookies or our other players that really haven't played this year good enough to be counted in the depth that they have at that position, or will they need to add more depth at the position because that player isn't that good? That's the thing with, you know, I really don't want to say bad, but I mean the Raiders are pretty bad. That's really just my take on the Raiders right now, and we'll see how Max Crosby feels by the start of next season. We'll see what happens with that. But anyway, second topic: Browns running back Nick Chubb breaks his foot, and that will end his season. It's the second season in a row where he's had a season-ending injury. Two different injuries, obviously, but Chubb will miss the team's remaining 3 games and possibly a few in 2025, which is very significant for a running back who has been through a lot of adversity. I mean, he's really not been always like super healthy throughout his career, at least just in my opinion. I mean, that what I remember at least. Obviously, we all know what happened last year whenever he tore his ACL, MCL, and PCL, or maybe it was just ACL and MCL. And it was like after that, it was so bad. It looked so bad that it could have been career ending. He came back in what was it? Week 7. He played his first snap against the Bengals. He scored his first touchdown of the year against the Bengals that same week, which even as a Bengals fan, I was still rooting for him. I was really happy for him. But I mean, he'll have to rehab from another significant injury. I mean, like I said, he tore his ACL and MCL in week 2 of last year, and also damaged his meniscus. That's what I was looking for. Not a PCL, but his meniscus. That's what he damaged. And so, anytime you come back from that injury, like you expect the worst. I thought he was. I mean, we don't know really for sure if the injury affected him, because the question is, did he feel 100% healthy after that injury, or did he just really want to play? That's the thing. So we'll see. He's gonna have to battle through another injury, and I feel really bad for him. We'll see how he feels sitting the rest. I feel like he should have at least sat up until around this time of year in the season. That way, that'd be like 100% that it feels normal. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe it did feel perfectly fine. But I mean, this is Chubb's last season with the Browns. If the team doesn't re-sign him to an extension by the offseason or before the offseason, who knows when? Who cares? I mean, who really cares as long as the Browns get him back? So yeah, we'll see if Chubb will remain with Cleveland after this year and for the future, because I don't know. It's looking pretty dim right now with the way he's been getting injured. He's really been banged up the past several years, at least 2 years. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I really hope he gets healthy and stays healthy very, very soon. But, yeah, we're going to go on to the third topic. The Lions actually lost 3 big pieces on Sunday last week. The Lions lost defensive tackle Alim McNeil to an ACL injury. He's done for the year. They also lost corner Carlton Davis with a broken jaw injury. He is out indefinitely. And running back David Montgomery, knee, could return in the playoffs. We'll see what happens there. I'll get back to that in a minute. But Lions head coach Dan Campbell said McNeil will need surgery, and Davis is expected to undergo surgery as well. I didn't hear that Montgomery needed to go. I mean, I think he is undergoing surgery. He's splitting surgery and rehab. He's doing both at the same time, I believe. So that's the reason that he does have a shot returning in the playoffs. But let's go to the defensive side, because obviously, even if you're not a Lions fan, you have to know about the injuries that the Lions have faced, not only everywhere on the field, but quite literally their defense. I'm not even kidding. Their defense probably has almost all their starters out. Like, I don't know if if they'll show them on their injury report, but I mean, their injuries right now is absolutely mind-blowing. I don't think I'll be able to find. It only shows like people that aren't uh, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't show people that are guaranteed out for the year or whatever. But I'll see if I can find it. Here's some. All right, here's the Detroit Lions injuries. David Montgomery. These are like notable. So David Montgomery, Carlton Davis, Brian Branch, Frank Ragnow, Graham Glasgow, Aiden Hutchinson, Lee McNeil, like I just talked about, Khalif Raymond, Ennis Rakestraw Jr., Alex Anzalone, Marcus Davenport. Looking for some more. This is all throughout the year, by the way. This isn't just 1 week. But yeah, I believe DJ Reader's actually injured too. So they're just really banged up on defense. And not only just the defense, but the offense as well. I mean, Montgomery returned to the game last week only to exit the game again. So a really gutsy move there by him. Obviously, you want to play in the game of the week against the Bills. The Bills are a really good football team. That was a great game. But we'll see. The question mark is Montgomery going to be good to go? Not just for the divisional round if the Lions win the divisional round, but is he going to be good to go like again in the NFC Championship game, the Super Bowl, who knows when? There's really no timeline for him right now, but there is a chance that he makes a shot at the playoffs. Nobody knows what round it'll be in. Nobody knows what date he'll be good to go. There's no timeline for him right now. But that is the Lions injuries. We're going to go through these fast because we have to get through the playoff picture. Cowboys corner Trayvon Diggs to undergo season-ending knee surgery. Once again, he suffers another knee injury. In case you're worried, this is not related to the ACL injury he suffered last year. But Dallas is aiming for a return at the start of 2025, which is the good news. And the Cowboys are also another one of those teams that have faced injuries as well. Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland, Dak Prescott. Who's the other guy that is there? Demarion Overshone. They've had a lot of injuries as well. Not as much as the Lions. The Lions are actually really, really banged up. But the Cowboys are also one of those teams that have been through some significant injuries this year as well. I mean, this year he's only generated 44 tackles, 11 pass deflections, and 2 picks, which is pretty solid for the average corner. I mean, I'm not saying he's average corner. But, yeah, I mean, the Cowboys have just been really through a completely different season compared to last year. Last year, obviously, they were really, really good, and they lost the Packers in the first round of the playoffs. It's just really been a completely, their season just completely flipped around this year. It really hasn't been too many good things about the Cowboys this year. I mean, it's just been really, really tough on them. I mean, according to the Cowboys vice president, Diggs is dealing with fluid in his knee and cartilage issues. So that's never good, but it's kind of shocks me. I don't know how significant of an injury this is. I don't know how long he'll be out, but they are aiming for a return in 2025, which is the good news. So we'll see if they'll stick to that or maybe they'll go a little bit later. Who knows when. We're going to go into the next topic. Titans bench quarterback Will Levis after a 3-interception game, a 4-turnover game. It was just as you guys, some of you know, I am a Bengals fan. So obviously the Titans played the Bengals last week, and I was watching it. He just looked way overconfident in himself, and confidence is a good thing. I'm not saying confidence is a bad thing, but when you get too confident, you start forcing things, and that's exactly what Will Levis was doing. Exactly what he was doing. I don't know how I don't know how else to describe it. He was pulled from their Week 15 game when he went 8 for 12, 89 yards, 3 picks, and 1 fumble lost. I don't know what happened. Last year, there was a few games where he broke out. There was a bunch of games where Will Levis was slinging it. He was playing really good football, and he was looking like a Titans franchise quarterback, but it's just not panned out that way. So not only did the Titans bench Will Levis during the Week 15 game last week against the Bengals, they're also benching him for Week 16. So Mason Rudolph is going to replace him. We'll see how Mason Rudolph does. And, I mean, you can hear the announcers just saying how bad Will Levis was. I mean, it wasn't like criticism, but they were just saying like the big difference between Mason Rudolph and checking the ball down versus Will Levis just taking the deep shot every single play. One thing that stuck out that the announcers said was don't get bored doing boring things. And that's literally how you sum up Will Levis. If you watched that game, the announcer said it perfectly. Will Levis got bored doing the boring things. And that's his problem. Like, he needs to realize, like, hey, the Titans were actually in a good fight. They were up, like, they got an interception on the Bengals' first drive. They went down and scored. The Bengals went down and scored, and then the Titans went down and scored again. So they were staying with the Bengals. It was like a 14-7 game. It was actually a really tight game in the first quarter. After that fumble lost by Will Levis, everything flipped. Like, it was Bengals, Bengals, Bengals. Like, 3 interceptions, 1 pick six, I will add. It was just a complete shift. I mean, Levis leads the NFL and the Titans franchise with the most pick sixes in a season with 4. Like, I don't want to copy what the announcer was saying this, but, like, I cannot get that thought out of my head when I think of Will Levis. Don't get bored doing the boring things. It matches. I mean, this year he is 101 for out of 158 pass attempts for 1,916 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions, and 4 pick sixes. If you want to add that, it's just really been a really bad year for Will Levis, and I don't know. We'll see what I feel like the Titans are going to draft a quarterback in this year's draft, which would make the most sense. If not, they're going to go with a wide receiver, maybe Tetoria McMillan, if that's how you even pronounce his name. If they can get lucky, Travis Hunter, maybe even Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State. We'll see which direction they go in right now. As mock drafts I've seen, they've gone with a receiver, but I would not be shocked if they went with a quarterback. I feel like they just need somebody really good to develop Will Levis and to teach him to not get bored doing the boring things. So we have another benching. The Falcons are benching Kirk Cousins for rookie Michael Penix Jr. And the crazy part is I actually saw that the Falcons' Super Bowl chances actually jumped whenever they did this, which is actually really crazy. Everyone's rooting for him, as what I've heard. I'm rooting for him. I hope he does well. I mean, this is a Kirk Cousins that signed a 4-year, $108 million deal in the offseason. And it was supposed to be a really good quarterback, their franchise quarterback. I don't want to say franchise, but at least quarterback for the moment. Since their best quarterback they've had since Matt Ryan. And yet they still have not found that. One mind-blowing stat, I will say. Through Cousins' first 9 games, he had a 69% completion percentage, a 17-7 touchdown and interception ratio, and a 6-3 record through the first 9 games. The last 5 games have been complete opposite. He's recorded a 63 completion percentage, a 1-9 touchdown interception ratio, and a 1-4 record the last 5 games. He looks like an old man who suffered a torn Achilles or whatever, ACL last year, and that's exactly who he is. And I don't know if it's his age starting to show, but if you watched him play, he cannot move. Like, he sits in the pocket, and that's all he does. Sure, he's an older guy, but this is not the Kirk Cousins we're used to seeing. And on Monday, Atlanta's head coach Raheem Morris said that quarterback play has to be better. 100% agree. And it's just like it's really been a rough year for Kirk Cousins. I mean, I don't see how it can get any worse than how the season started versus how the season's been going as of late. I mean, in the preseason, though, Penix really doesn't have many eye-popping numbers. He went 3 of 5, 38 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. He really didn't play too much in the preseason. So he's going to get his first NFL start, I believe, Sunday. I'm going to see. I don't know when they play. I believe it is Sunday. Yeah, Sunday at 1 against the Giants. Really, their schedule, for at least for Penix, isn't going to be too hard. I mean, they have the Giants, and then they have the Commanders, which will be tough, but then they have the Panthers. So we'll see how Penix does against the Giants. His true test is going to be against the Commanders. That one's going to be interesting. We'll see how he plays, if he plays good or not. I can't wait to see. But if Atlanta moves on from Cousins, cutting him would cost the team $65 million in dead money. and if they trade him, the $27.5 million base salary would go to the team. So, all right, second to last, I believe. We're going to get through these ones quick. The Cardinals signed Budda Baker to a 3-year, $50 million extension, making him one of the highest paid safeties in NFL history. Really good deal for the Cardinals, who have been a pretty surprising team this year. I mean, the deal includes $30 million guaranteed. The extension keeps Baker in Arizona through his 10th NFL season, so we'll see. He could retire as a Cardinal by his 10th season. We shall see. We shall see. And the contract he receives is enough to rank 4th highest all-time at his position. Obviously, if you guys didn't know, during the offseason, Antoine Winfield Jr. signed the highest paid safety contract, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, he ranks 4th. He's top 5, and he definitely deserves it. He's one of the top 5 safeties in the league, in my opinion. A really good extension. Put the pen on the dotted line. He's going to stay with Arizona for 3 years through 2027. It's a great pickup. I mean, a really good extension for the Cardinals there. Last topic. The Jets interviewed Senior Bowl director Jim Nagy for the general manager position. The Jets spoke with ex-Titans GM John Robinson and former Falcons GM Thomas Dimitroff. So it's really between Jim Nagy, the Titans GM former Titans GM John Robinson, or Thomas Dimitroff. Them three are competing, or we'll see who they like better. I mean, Nagy has served as a scout for 18 years in the NFL with the Seahawks, Packers, Commanders, Patriots, and Chiefs. He's been a Senior Bowl director since 2018. Fun fact, the director before him is currently the Jets' interim GM. So that was pretty cool to see. I wonder if Jim Nagy and Matt Nagy are related. I couldn't really see the relation in their faces, but same last name, right? All right. That is all for NFL news. We're going to get through these quick because, like I said, we have the playoff picture to get into. This might be a 40-minute episode, so stay tuned. 49ers suspend Devondre Campbell for the rest of 2024 after he refused to enter the team's Week 15 matchup against the Rams. Campbell has played for the Packers, Cardinals, and Falcons this year. That's really all you have to say about him. He's really not played too much this year. Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco fined for unnecessary roughness. He was fined $45,000 or $45,020, which is 80% of his contract or paycheck, whatever you want to call it. Dolphins wide receiver Grant Dubose is flying back home after a scary injury against the Texans. I will pull up a video in a little bit. Dubose, they announced that he was in stable condition on Monday or Tuesday. Miami placed him on IR, which means he's probably done for the season. He was taken off the field on a stretcher, and then the trainers had to take off multiple equipment to tend to him. And while he was still being helped, the game was stopped for a total of 12 minutes. So I'm going to pull up the injury. Here, we're going to play it right now. Here we go. 2nd and 9. Tua looks over the middle. He's got his man, and it's just so, the way he just fell. It's just a really scary injury. Like, these are the injuries that you just hate to happen. And we do get a replay, but this is like terrifying. Like, luckily the trainers got there quickly. I mean, the dude's only 23. It's just like, and you can just tell, like, the players are worried. I mean, obviously, anytime your guy goes down, you're gonna be worried for sure. I didn't watch this live because I was watching the Bengals game, but this was not a great moment. I mean, Isaac, look at that.
We've got
it's just he's taken out on a stretcher.
I have not seen this yet, so
I don't know if he give everybody a thumbs up or what. I honestly don't know. But it's just really scary.
Wide receiver,
and I sure hope he is okay. And yeah, we'll see. How his this could be something where he could retire, but I would not be surprised. I would be surprised if that happened. But anyway, we're going to go on to the next quick hit. The Browns bench Jameis Winston ahead of Week 16 matchup. Winston has thrown 8 interceptions over the last 3 games. And this season, Winston threw for 2,121 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Falcons place kicker Younghoe Koo on IR. Koo's season is likely over unless the team makes a playoff push. Koo re-aggravated an injury he suffered earlier in the year, and Riley Patterson is going to replace him. Alvin Kamara possibly suffers a season-ending groin injury. Kamara is 50 yards away from his first 1,000-yard season, which would have been a cool milestone for him. It's not looking good. I don't know if he'll get it or not. Christian Barmore, this has been a topic over the summer, is facing reoccurring symptoms from blood clots. Barmore has been dealing with the issue since July. He did not return to the field in November, or he did return to the field in November, tallying 6 tackles and 1 sack on the year. Barmore, who missed the team's first 10 games, is going to miss the rest of the year because New England placed him on the reserve non-football illness list, I believe, whatever you want to call it. We're going to go to highlights and lowlights. Let's start off the week with Alvin Kamara, who we just talked about. His ridiculous one-handed catch on a trick play. I don't know if you want to call it Philly special. It's not a Philly special. I don't know what you want to call it. Here we go. First and 10, 17 zip. Rattler throws it out there. I don't know who that is, but he just lobs it up. And what a catch. One-handed for the touchdown. And what a play. Look at this snag.
One-handed grab.
What a play.
1 foot is down.
I mean, one of the best plays of the week, for sure. No doubt about that, but I don't know. Could we see the Saints receiver replace Spencer Rattler? The thing is, yeah, like if you saw a Washington Commanders player, he thought it was like incomplete because, I mean, he only saw 1 foot in the end zone, but he caught it with his other foot down and then took another step into the end zone. It took me a little bit to realize that, and then I was like, oh, that makes sense now. Touchdown to turnover. That's what the title says, and that's exactly what it is. Look at this play. First and 10. 12 minutes and 40 seconds left, and Jonathan Taylor runs up the gut. Looks like a touchdown, and everyone expects it's a touchdown. He starts doing his dance. The Colts take a 20 or 19-7 lead for the moment, and the Colts are looking like they're gonna win this one against the Broncos. I don't even think the announcers realize this, that he fumbled, but here he's like, here it comes. It looks like a touchdown in real time, for sure. And in fact, this happened twice, and the call's overturned. This happened twice on Sunday, where they fumbled before the end zone.
And again, we've seen this happen more
Look
than
at
once this year. A player's not breaking the
you
plane
just
of the
can't
goal
do
line, the
that.
ball comes loose. We
And
see him let it
the
go
other
before
player
it
that
breaks
did
the
it
plane. We have a
was
fumble in the field of play,
Jordan
and we
Battle
all
of the
know now
Bengals.
that a fumble
He
in the
didn't
field of
didn't
play
drop it
through the
before
end
he
zone,
went into the end
out
zone.
of the end zone. The result
He
is a
dropped it.
touchback.
He just
Clearly see him
fumbled it
dropping
on
the
accident,
football
trying to
before it
switch it into
breaks
his
the
other
plane of the
hand.
goal line.
But it's just like, you can't do that. Like, that's not something you do. Like, you have to learn from that, and you just can't do it at all. All right, anyway, next one. The Colts tried to run a trick play, exactly what the Saints did, only it did not work at all. Here we go. Anthony Richardson throws it out there. It's caught, and it's obvious he's throwing the ball, and then it's just picked by Nick Bonito, who is a real candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. And it's just, I don't know. Like, the way the receiver held the ball, like, you could tell he played quarterback with the way he spun the ball at some point. It's just like, you can't make it that obvious. Like, the Saints player, he didn't make it obvious. Like, he caught the ball, acted like it was gonna run, and then threw it. You have to make it less obvious, in my opinion. The next one is actually a once-in-a-lifetime moment. This is the first time we've seen like this in like 50-plus years. Here we go. It's a punt. 4th and 12. 8 seconds left in the first half. He's going to punt it from his own 5-yard line. And fair catch is called, and he falls down. It looks like a flop in real time, and I think it might have been a little bit of a flop. There's a flag. It's going to be fair catch interference. It looks like there's going to be triple zeros. But no, there was actually 1 second left when the play occurred. So hold on a minute.
And the Broncos think
I'm gonna skip through most of this, but we're gonna go to the replay. So here it is. He gets hit the slightest bit, which I think it was a little bit. He kind of flopped a bit. I mean, it was just the slightest thing. Like, it's kind of hard to tell. Like, sure, he might have knocked his knee over, but in no way did that much damage.
Which we haven't seen in.
But he touched it, and the Chargers. I don't know who recovered it, honestly. But it's first down Chargers, and they elect to kick a field goal from like the logo,
like you said, very often.
and it's a free kick. Like
I
no
assumed
offensive linemen,
Get the ball right there.
no rushers. It's almost like a
Good call,
kickoff,
Terry.
Yep, Dicker.
Atta babe.
but a field goal.
Dicker.
It makes zero
This is within
sense.
his distance.
It's like the
As long
old-fashioned
as
kickoff,
59
I guess is
strictly
what we
a
should
free
call it
kick
now.
Situation.
But look at this,
Can he bang it
like,
through? On its way.
and he nails it.
It is. Yep.
And it's just like, I have zero words. I've never seen that before. I mean, the first, like, the last time it happened was before I was even born. So that's the first time it happened in like 50 years. So it's a once in a lifetime. So, all right, last one of the week. A 2-point conversion, toe drag, swag, tip drill, whatever you want to call it. Here we go. 2-point try, 25-24. The Chargers are in must-win mode.
Fake to him.
Herbert looks, throws.
Herbert
It's
steps
tipped
up,
and tipped
throws,
again
and is it
into his hands
one-handed and caught? Yes,
for the
it
touchdown.
is. Joshua
Joshua
Palmer
Palmer
with an
makes it a
amazing
3-point
pass.
game. In the fourth, like, it was tipped by a defender, and then he tipped it with his hands, and then caught it and dragged his feet in.
How about
And the
he
ref
just
was in
kinda
a really good
backs the
spot
ball
to look
up
at
to
that.
himself.
And what a
He's been
play
waiting to have a chance
by Joshua Palmer. What a play. This week was packed with some pretty good highlights. All right, it's already been 30 minutes, and we still have the playoff picture to get into, so I'm going to try and make this quick. So, this might look weird. Yeah, this might look weird. I'm still working on it. But here we go. I'm going to have to change the setting because it just looks really funky right now. But here we go. The playoff picture. Okay. So here we are. Looking, we're going to start with the AFC side this week. So it might be a little bit weird because the last time I did this was last year. So here we go. We'll start with the AFC. Really, we don't have much to talk about about the teams that clinched. Chiefs, if the season ended today, it'd be the Chiefs 1, Bills 2, Steelers 3, Texans 4. In the hunt, the Ravens, Chargers, and Broncos, okay? So right now, my prediction is that the Chiefs, they're going to be number 1. The Bills will be 2. I think that the Steelers will be 3 and the Texans will be 4. So this is really my prediction. The Ravens will be 5. And I would say the Chargers will be 6. Number 7 is where it gets interesting, though. But we're going to start off with in the hunt. Ravens are going to be in. Chargers are going to be in. So really, there's 2 teams that have already clinched in the hunt, even though they technically haven't clinched yet. So here we go. At the 7 seed, we have the Broncos at 9-6. On the bubble are the Colts, Dolphins, and Bengals. You might be like, the Colts, Dolphins, and Bengals, there's a 3-game difference. There's no way that they're going to get in. Or at least one of them. Because that's what's going to one of them, either the Colts, Dolphins, Bengals, or Broncos, one of them is going to get in. So right now, the Broncos sit at 9-6. So here's a bunch of different scenarios. So for the Bengals scenario, this is really the only scenario that I know. But if the Bengals win out and the Colts and Dolphins both lose one more game, that the Colts and Dolphins, if the Colts and Dolphins lose one more game for the rest of the year, they're done. They're out of the playoffs. If the Bengals win out and the Broncos lose the remaining 2 games, then the Bengals will get the 7 seed. It's kind of confusing. As you can see, the percentages, the Bengals current is 8%, the Dolphins is 4%, Colts is 6%. It's going to be very interesting what happens in the AFC. And it's the Ravens and Chargers are in, no doubt in my mind. Unless the Chargers somehow lose to the Patriots and Raiders. But you might be like, how are the Broncos going to lose like 2 straight? How are the Broncos going to go 9-8 and potentially tie with the Bengals if they win out? I know, it sounds crazy. But the Broncos just played the Chargers, lost. The Broncos play the Bengals and then the Chiefs. So the Bengals have a really solid chance of making the playoffs, and the Broncos have a really good chance of being eliminated. So whoever wins the Bengals-Broncos game next week is likely going to be the playoff deciding game, unless the Dolphins and Colts somehow sneak in. But really, the Bengals-Broncos is really the game next week that is going to decide the 7th seed or who gets in the playoffs. So, yeah, and as you can see, eliminated currently in the AFC is the Jets, Browns, Jaguars, Titans, Patriots, and Raiders. It is going to be really interesting, the AFC. There's really not much to talk about in the AFC because one thing that is for sure, it is not as tight as the AFC as the NFC right now. I'm going to move my webcam over. The NFC is actually stacked. It's actually incredible. So here we are. There's 1, 2, and 5. You might be like, how is there a 5 seed all of a sudden? Because the Vikings are in the same division as the Lions, so they basically get they have the 5 spot locked in. So the Lions are at 1, Eagles at 2. That is going to be an interesting race to see who gets the number 1 seed. And then we have the Vikings at 5, and they're likely going to be the team that gets the 5 seed because there's really not anybody else in here other than the Packers that can really reach their point. But here we go. Let's start off in the hunt. The Buccaneers are 8-6. They get the 3 seed because right now they're winning in the NFC South in a tight race with the Falcons. Even though I think the Buccaneers are going to take that division away. The NFC West, the Rams are currently winning in the NFC West over the Seahawks. So keep an eye on the NFC South and the NFC West because those races between the Seahawks and Rams and Buccaneers and Falcons is going to be interesting by week 17, week 18, maybe by the end of this week, how the playoffs will turn out and the picture will look after this week. So right now, I would say the Buccaneers get that 3 spot. Over the Rams or Seahawks, it's going to be really interesting to see who gets that spot. I think it is going to be the Rams. I think the Rams will sneak in at the 4 seed. The Seahawks will still get in my opinion. Well, they're going to have to beat out the Commanders, who have struggled as of late compared to the start of the season. It'll be interesting to see how the playoffs pan out. The Packers are going to be in. The Packers are likely going to have the 6th seed because the Vikings are right there. So I would say the Packers get the 6th seed. I would also say the Commanders will be out of the playoffs, and the Seahawks will get the 7th seed. With the way the Seahawks have been playing outside of the Green Bay loss, the Commanders have really been struggling as of late. I think the Seahawks will get in. The Commanders will somehow fall short of the playoffs as the 8th seed. Falcons will be eliminated. The Cardinals will barely be eliminated because of a divisional matchup with the Rams and Seahawks. 49ers will be out. The Cowboys are not going to get in. And the Saints, I don't even know how they're still in the conversation. Right now, the Bears, Panthers, and Giants are the only teams eliminated in the NFC. It kind of goes to show you how much better the NFC is this year. I mean, right now, the AFC has more teams clinched. The NFC has more teams in the hunt and on the bubble by a lot. But I guess only by 3. But they also have less teams eliminated, which, yeah, really goes to show you how much better the NFC is right now. But, yeah, we'll see. Right now, the Lions are going to face – or this week, the Lions are facing the Bears. The Eagles are facing the Commanders. Watch out for that one. That one could be a shocker. The Commanders could pull an upset. We'll see what happens. Vikings play the Seahawks. If the Seahawks win that one and the Rams lose the Jets, then that means the Seahawks would jump the Rams, and they would have the current 4 spot. So this week for the NFC West is going to be interesting. Now, if the Buccaneers lose and the Falcons beat the Giants, then the Falcons would still hold that spot. Or no, the Falcons would actually be the 3 spot currently if the Falcons win and the Buccaneers lose, because the Falcons own the head-to-head currently, I believe. So this week there's a lot at stake for the NFC side. A lot has changed now. There's a lot of, what do you want to call it? It's a lot more closer in the NFC or AFC now. Now that the Broncos lost, because the Broncos freed up a ton of space with the loss to the Chargers. But yeah, I can't wait to see how the playoff picture looks. Probably by week 18, Saturday before week 18, we might do another playoff picture. But yeah, that is currently where things sit right now. We'll see where things sit by the end of. Sorry guys, I've not done this since last year, so. But yeah, we'll see where things stand between the divisions. It's going to be a very interesting week in the NFC West and really all NFC divisions. It's going to be interesting. All right, top 25 teams. This is power rankings, but we call it top 25 since Christmas is the 25th, which is literally 4 days away, which I can't believe it. And where I'm at, it does not feel like Christmas. It's actually wet and rainy. So, at number 1, we have a new number 1, by the way. The Bills are officially the number 1 team in the NFL, going up 2 spots. The Eagles at number 2 with no change. The Chiefs went up 1 spot to number 3. The Lions dropped 3 spots to number 4. The Vikings went up 1 spot to number 5. The Packers dropped 1 spot to number 6. The Buccaneers went up 4 spots to number 7. At number 8, we had the Ravens going up 1 spot. The Steelers dropped 1 spot to going to number 9. The Rams are in the top 10, going up 2 spots. The Broncos are at number 11, going up 1 spot. This is, by the way, before the Thursday games. The Seahawks dropped 2 spots to the Seahawks. The Chargers dropped 6 spots to number 13. The Texans had no change at number 14. The Bengals went up 2 spots at number 15. Dolphins -1 at number 16. Cardinals at number 17 +2. Commanders -2 at number 18. Cowboys +1 at 19. 49ers -2 at number 20. At 21, the Colts went up 2 spots. 22, the Bears -1. 23, the Panthers -1. 24, Bears no change. And 25, Falcons +3. Those are the 25 25 teams. I might get the remaining of the power rankings, but this is really a special topic since it's Christmas time. So, that's all for that. We have predictions and question of the week. No stardom, sit-em, no recap. Here we go. I predicted the Chargers to win. Thankfully, that happened because as a Bengals fan, I was jumping for joy when I saw the score this morning, or yesterday morning, I guess. Last week, I went 14-2, really solid week last week. Currently 37-6 on the month. The month of December has been much better than November. Today, Houston, Kansas City. I've taken Kansas City. I believe that game started at 1 o'clock. I'll have to check the score on that. And later at 3 o'clock. Wait, no, when does that game start? I actually don't remember. It is already past 3 o'clock, obviously. But whenever they play, I believe it's 4. I'm taking the Ravens over the Steelers. Questionable. I'm taking the Falcons over the Giants. The Lions over the Bears. The Cardinals over the Panthers. The Rams over the Jets. The Eagles over the Commanders. Cincinnati over Cleveland. The Colts over the Titans. The Vikings over the Seahawks. The Bills over the Patriots. The Raiders over the Jaguars. The Dolphins over the 49ers, even though as a Bengals fan, we really need the Colts and Dolphins to lose this week. And then on Sunday night, we have the Buccaneers and Cowboys. I'm taking the Buccaneers. And then the Packers against the Saints on Monday night. I'm taking the Green Bay Packers. Currently 1-0 in the week, and I have a currently 142-79 overall record. Question of the week. Obviously, we all know that Patrick Mahomes suffered an ankle injury. So the question of the week this week is, how will Mahomes' ankle injury affect him? So I believe this is currently happening right now. I don't know when that game started. It started at 1. So it's been going on for about, an hour-ish. So I haven't watched the game at all. So it'll be interesting. Please, don't quote me if I, completely mess this up, because I haven't watched the game. I don't even know the scores. But in my opinion, since it's happening right now, it kind of puts a little bit of pressure on me. I'm going to say no. Mahomes is tough. We saw him play through it in the AFC Championship game 2 years ago whenever he had that injury. Very similar. It's literally the exact same injury. And the way he injured it as well. It literally looks like the same thing. And he played fine against the Bengals in the AFC Championship game in 2022. I don't think he's going to have any issue here. He is off the injury report. We'll see if the Chiefs decide to start him this week. If he doesn't, scratch this question of the week. But I don't think it'll affect him at all. He's Patrick Mahomes. He can pretty much do anything. So that is the question of the week, and that is this week's episode. Let me know what you guys think of the playoff picture segment. We're gonna check if there's any more NFL news. I don't think there's anything as of late. No, there's no change yet. So that is this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the like, the subscribe button, and notification bell to get notified every single upload this channel makes. This was a long episode because we had the playoff picture to discuss, and hopefully we can do it again later in the year. Well, I will see you guys on the, the 28th. I will see you on the 28th. I hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas. Have a good time with friends and family. You know, one of the best, if not the best time of year. And I hope you guys really enjoy it. And I sure will. So, I will not see you guys before Christmas anymore. But I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. And I'll see you guys next week for another great episode on Deacon's NFL Talk. Merry Christmas, everybody.